Hi, I'm Nicola.
And I'm Jay Percy.
And welcome to the Afro Animist Podcast.
We are two animists and spiritual practitioners exploring the secular through the spiritual, discussing life experiences through a sacred lens.
Each week we share our experiences and dive deep into everything in life, from philosophy, metaphysics, obeah, occultism, shamanism, culture, healing, nature, animism,
the arts, pop culture, conspiracies, psychedelics and witchcraft. Nothing is off the table in these discussions, which aim to get to the heart of what it means to be spiritual and Afro-diasporic in an increasingly sterile and authoritarian world.
We keep it real whilst exploring the biggest mysteries of our multiverse. Join us holding this space to laugh, cry, debate, build community and tear down oppressive structures.
Welcome, beautiful, beautiful beings of the multiverse to the Afro Animist Podcast. You're here with me today, Love.
And me, Nicola. And today, we're kind of living our chaos, as per.
Yeah, pure chaos. I think you can probably tell by our faces that we're like stifling back laughs for no freaking reason.
No reason. Yeah, I'm due on my blobs, aka my moon time.
You could have gone with moon time.
It's because, like, honestly, babe, when I'm due on my blobs, like when I'm actually due on, it's about to come. It's always the blobs. Like up until that point, it's my moon time. I'm going to bleed, but today I'm feeling like it's the fucking blobs.
There are certain words I hate. Blobs, like pum. I hate pum. Moist.
There's something wrong with that word. Welcome guys. Hi. If you haven't met us before, good luck.
Godspeed.
Godspeed. So
we talk about spiritual shit and aliens and conspiracies and occult and mystical shit.
Shit. Basically, we talk about all the stuff that's real.
Yes.
And the government tells you it's not.
Yeah, basically, that's what we talk about. And you are here because you like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We're here to fucking lift the veil, guys. Think about it. Just look outside. Does that look right to you?
Do you know what? The Matrix was Matrixing the other day. Sorry, I went to the National Maritime Museum, and I shit you not, I counted a good 8 like white SUV type things just lined up one after the other. It's like, wow, the Matrix really isn't putting any effort in today. It's just gonna pump out the exact same car. Maybe there are too many leaves. Maybe it needs to spend more rendering time on the leaves, so it's just giving me same generic car. And my cousin was just like, you have to
why do you have to go there? That? Why do you have to do that?
Yeah. Why are you pointing this stuff out? Sorry, you were talking.
I don't know, that was much more important than whatever I had to say. Like, it Absolutely actually was. Not. Because also one thing I don't understand is why people have white cars in the UK. It's like, have you looked outside and seen the weather? Like, those cars are like, I'm not saying a white car is bad, but I am telling you, it is not the car to have in England.
I'm saying it's a waste of time and energy. Why would you want to possess something that forces you to care more about it than just getting out the car and slamming the door and being about your way? It's like, oh no, someone's dinged my baby.
Capitalism? Materialism?
I don't know. My brain, there's like cars that I like, but they're probably like older cars that I'd be like, what's this little tiny car that can fit into any spot? But yeah, this whole like, I've got to have the most grandest Audi that is like 10 feet off of the ground and bright white. Like, you're gonna get
I don't get it. Although I say I don't get it, I do. There are a couple of cars that I would actually love to have, so I'm a bit of a hypocrite. But I'd only get a white car if I was living somewhere hot, because then they look sick. Driving to a beach in your white SUV, bruv, that's the look. But we live in England, so fuck that. Get a blue car. Where were we? Oh, where have I been for the last month or so, Jay?
I don't know.
Oh shit! No, fuck's sake! I keep on doing this.
That's okay. You'll get better with it. Don't cut it. My name is Love. My name is Love. My name is Love. I've changed my name to Love. No, not really. I haven't changed my name to Love. It was revealed unto me that my name has always been Love, and I needed to adopt that.
Yes.
So yeah. She may call me Jay, but it's Love. Yeah.
When I say Jay, I mean Love. It's what I said this to you before. I think it's like, it's so weird because I back over our text messages, I actually call you Love. So most people I've called you Jay, but now that change has happened, I'm just struggling because I'm just like to fuck up sometimes. Anyway, where have I been? Where have I been the last
Where have you been?
What have I been talking to you about consistently, non-stop?
I think she's been with the aliens.
Have been with the aliens. And so if you remember a couple of episodes ago, we did Jay's story. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, I'm going to cut it out. I'm actually going to cut it out. No, because you know what? When you went in, you were Jay. When you came out, you were Love. So we did Love's story, where she met with Grandmother Ayahuasca for the first time. And that is intrinsically linked. All your messages, everything you receive, like the more now I'm researching, the more now I'm listening to our new favorite podcast. That isn't our podcast, guys. We know we're your favorite, but there's a few other great ones out there.
I don't think we should actually plug a podcast that
I'm not going to plug it.
Yeah, you're not going to.
No, I'm just saying there's a podcast that we love and we're obsessed with, and
it's been
helping me. It's been helping me out. And it's just actually the more I listen to it, the more I think about your journey as well with me and Grandmother and the messages you received and how it's just the more you look, guys, the more you see how everything is intrinsically linked. And I know we speak about that a lot. And there's a difference between kind of understanding a thing and knowing a thing. And that knowing is just really like slapping me in the face right now. Hey, you gotta know this shit. And I actually, should I just monologue now?
Yeah, monologue. I'm sat back. I've got my tea.
All right. Okay, Jay's got her tea.
You can't pour from an empty mug.
It says cup, but I love it. Okay, so I actually have had a very interesting couple of months where I moved house, and that was wonderful, amazing, beautiful. And then in the last few weeks, I've had a massive drop off in my mood. And it's like, I don't know if anyone out there who suffers from mental health issues, depression, like sometimes that shit can just hit you in the face, and you might look around at your life and go, there's actually no fucking reason. Like, I've made so many big, great, beautiful changes. Things are moving forward. Even the things I'm stressed about, I can see that they're going forward. Do you know what I mean? Like, so why am I in this really, really, really dark place? And I keep on going to these dark places. And one of the things that I have thought about in regards to this before for myself, because this has been a journey that I've been on since I was a child, is kind of like the level of experience I've had of the unknown, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, of reality. And then how I have felt as a human being in the world, and my ability to integrate all of those lessons and experiences into my life, especially as a young person. I was doing so much stuff when I was in my early and mid 20s. And I know that we all feel like we're fucking growing at that age, but obviously we're not. And who I am now today is completely different, and is because of all of those experiences that I have had, but also because of my own because of things that I went through. I had to step away a lot from my communities, and that has left me in a place in recent years where I felt really disconnected from my experience. So, you know, like, you've just gone and been with Grandmother, and it's like your time is still there. Do you know what I mean? You're totally, you've had this beautiful experience of going beyond the veil in such a complete way that you cannot deny it. And that is right there. It happened a month ago. Do you know what I mean? You've also have the reflection of your husband also having done that with you. And one thing that I do believe about these medicines is that I do feel like everybody has a right to go and work with them. I feel like everybody should do that in a really safe way. So you need to find a proper guide, a proper teacher or
shaman.
Safety first. But I also feel like there are some of us who do need to go around a few more times than other people. And I would hate to admit that I'm one of those people, but I am. I need something to be knocked into me over and over and over. And what I found for me when I started doing all of my deepest work is I was treating ceremony like church, right? So I was going regularly. And I say like church, I just say that because we understand what that entity is. Do you know what I mean? A gathering of space, the community gathers in a space and you do your spiritual work together frequently, you know, on a and without having that support, like I have struggled to remember to continuously acknowledge the reality of my experiences. And I think that has in some ways affected my depression more than if I hadn't have ever gone there.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have been having like really, really, really difficult internal time in the last few weeks. And it's kind of coincided, if I'm honest, with when they started to release the alien stuff. Like because I watched it. So I watched it on YouTube. Like I watched the when the American government sat down with the whistleblowers and spoke about the fact that they do actually have this technology. And it sent me off on some mad one because I really struggle with the fact that everything is bad. We're told everything is bad. The aliens are bad. The fucking AI is bad. The, you know, whatever. It's all bad. Everything's bad. The food is bad. It's bad. Like, oh, I'm kind of losing my train of thought a little bit.
It's a fear campaign.
It's a fear campaign.
That we're constantly being told everything is bad. It settles into your soul.
And so, I know, and I can see, like, I don't know, it's just, I'm getting so much more like disillusioned every day with the world. And the more that I try to fit and the more that I try to squeeze the world into like this thing into something that really makes sense for me and something that I could really fit into in the way that it looks, it's crushing my soul. It crushes my soul. Like, it's just not possible. And like we all are unique. And actually there's something that I have to find for myself. Like I have to feel very comfortable in my space of who I am and what I'm here to be and do. And, you know, the places that I'm different and the places that I'm the same as others and whatnot, I have to be able to accept those. So when they released that alien stuff, I started really thinking about my experiences with what I would call abductions. And like, obviously, now I haven't told you, love, like properly any of my stories.
Listen, I want to tell you guys, every time she goes to tell me, I'm like, no, do not tell me. We need to save this for the podcast for the first time so that my reaction can be like authentic and real and I can actually like be there with you because it's big. These things are big. You know, we are told that either aliens don't exist or when they do exist, they're coming here to take over our world and kill us all, which in my mind, if they wanted to have done that, they would have done that already.
Hold that thought, but that is the end thought. Do you know what I mean? Like, seriously, like it's so mad that it's mad. And the propaganda that we've been fed, like we've spoken about this a lot. We've spoken about this so much. Like we did the freaking, you know, look back, guys, on our catalogue of episodes because we've touched on these subjects so many times throughout because everything is so interlinked. But the oh, this happens to me so much.
That's all right.
It's because this is actually quite overwhelming. I'm sleepy, but I'm also quite overwhelmed by everything that's in my brain. So basically when I watched the thing with the whistleblowers and like, you know, the Senate fucking turn around and listening to them and asking them questions and there being this admittance by, you know, essentially the United States government that they have reverse engineered this technology from aliens, that there have been contact with UFOs for at least the last like 70 or 80 years, that they have biological evidence as in like bodies of non-terrestrial beings, like, and then the next level of that, because I'm still listening to this, I'm just still there's that bit of me that's like, okay, I know aliens exist, right? But like, I don't believe in aliens the way that you're still telling me that aliens exist.
It's right? The way they okay, so similarly, they've told us how God exists. it's this like white guy in the sky with beard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now they're telling us how aliens exist. It's like these little green men who like shrivel up and die on like Nevada
Yeah,
plains. Like,
who are just there to like either just watch us like fucking weird stalkers or eat us. Do you know what I mean? There's like no in between. It's just like some fucked up thing. You know, and none of that makes sense to me. It goes into a place in me where where I feel fear. And I think most people do. So the main thing is like, and I think this is why nobody's reacted, because I keep on saying to people, hey, you know, they said there's aliens, you know, they said they've re-engineered aircraft, you know, they've said that potentially
it's because it's not true. I think people at their core don't feel the truth in what they are portraying.
I agree, but I also feel like there is an element of that fear is so big. We've just come out of a pandemic. Like literally, there's natural disasters happening here, there, fucking everywhere. There's wars going on. No one knows what's happening. I also feel like it's just it's an exhaustion. It's a like, oh, they're aliens and the aliens, you know, they're telling us that aliens are gonna come and eat us. Like I don't have the energy to even worry about that. It's like so end of times. Like, do you know what I mean? No, it's so fucking end of times. Like, what if they turn around now and went, oh, by the way, there are aliens, we're gonna be invaded tomorrow? Like, a bit of me would just be like,
we're going into lockdown.
Do you know what?
I just go out and stand there with my
stand
arms
out
wide
there, man. Like, do I have the energy to? There's nothing I can fucking do. You've lied to me for this entire time, and now I've got to now figure out how to accept this new thing that you're still lying to me about what it is. Yeah. And you know and then Greer, good old Stephen Greer, turns around and goes, you know, these are multidimensional beings. Okay, so then this made me perk up because I'm like, okay, this is what makes sense to me. This is the only thing that makes sense to me. Have you watched Close
Encounters of the Fifth Kind?
I fucking watched it last night. I watched it last night.
Oh, my husband's gonna be so happy about this.
I just like, do you know what it is? I put it on the other day when you sent it to me, and then I fell asleep. And then I couldn't get into it. You know, you're falling asleep, and then it's very complex. You're waking up, and you're like, what is happening? So last night I was just kind of flicking through, like, oh, what should I watch? And that was on my like, do you want to continue watching list? And I was like, oh shit. And I literally rewound it and sat there and tried to like fully it's just like insane. I've never heard, as much as I've been in the, you know, in this new age spiritual world and that kind of stuff, I've never heard people talk about this. I did not know this thing was going on. Like, so I'll explain what that is. There is a propaganda that's being pushed by the world governments. Like this is no fucking conspiracy. This is just the truth. Like, look at the films you were brought up on. Look at what the news is about. It's just like they push a fear-based narrative, and that keeps us massively under control. There are people in the world, like doctors, scientists, fucking military officials, whatever, all of them who have been part of these projects and do know what's going on. There are people who are whistleblowers and are now coming out and saying what the truths are, and they can prove it. There are people like Stephen Greer who have been for decades doing work around this, like active actual work, not sitting in a lab and like, you know, fucking doing numbers and discussing shit or whatever, like actually trying to understand this on a more expansive from a more expansive place, from the reality of maybe what human beings are, understanding that we're not limited in this way, and actually that we have a responsibility and also the complete and utter power to be able to contact other dimensions. Again, this is something we speak about a bit. We speak about it in a spiritual way, in a witchy way, like we're, you know, the realms, the whatever. But
that's just our language. That is just our language. So you're probably. I'm just going to jump in really quickly. Hold your thought. The reason we are essentially on a spiritual animist podcast, animist being everything has a spirit, talking about freaking aliens. Aliens is the word we are given. Is because across all spiritual cultures and religions, occulted ones, throughout our written knowledge and history, there has always been talk of people coming from the stars. They had different names across all different cultures. We are just calling them aliens now. You know, they've been called angels, jinn, genie. You know, they've just been given loads of different names because there weren't names to explain it. So when we are talking about aliens, we are not talking about this government-fed idea of little green men. Maybe that's what they do look like. What we are talking about is multi-dimensional beings that can travel through the multiverse and can and do find their way to us.
Exactly. And this is something I just feel like if everyone just takes a minute and comprehends, like, we're coming into a time now where the truths that we understand about the universe, even just subconsciously, like, are starting to become undeniable, right? So it's like this thing of the multidimensional experience. Okay, I'm sure pretty much everyone who's listened to this has had some kind of experience that has made them consider there is more. It doesn't have to be a big deal. It could be just that you're walking down the road thinking
Can
about a
I tell
robin and
you
a
my
robin jumped in front of
first?
you.
My very
Yes.
first. And, if you've been listening to this, you've probably heard me talk about Mahakali many, many times. So this isn't that. This is probably when I was 14 and I first started seriously acknowledging that I was a witch. Well, at the time, I would acknowledge myself as a witch. Now, these days, I'd use that word less, maybe metaphysicist. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a bit more of a grown up word. Alchemist or be a woman. It's just a bit more specific now. But I had started to do meditation techniques where there was kind of a few of us in school who were exploring this and like just getting into this knowledge. And I had one friend who had said to me, what you need to do is learn to calm your mind. I'm like, how do you do that? He goes, you sit, you meditate. How do you meditate? It's like, first of all, what you need to do is take all of your thoughts that are swirling around and see yourself putting them into a box in your brain and then letting everything go completely blank and just breathing into that. And this was really hard for 14-year-olds with like a million things on her mind. Whatever, I tried it alongside this Romany magic book that I'd like nicked from my boyfriend at the time's mum's kitchen. That was in her drawer. I nicked it and I was trying out some of these rituals. And at the same time, while doing this, as I opened my eyes, and it was only for a split second, I saw what was like a bull spirit. That's the only way I can explain it. It wasn't a devil, bull. Yeah.
Oh, bull.
Okay. It wasn't like goat horns or devil horns. It was like a bull spirit. It was just very strong. I remember it standing there like a protector of some kind. And as I'd opened my eyes after doing this meditation, it was just there. I freaked myself the fuck out and like just sucked in some breath and let it go, and it was gone. But I don't know how to explain it.
So did you see it physically manifest with your eyes open in front of you?
Yeah, but it was like ghostly,
interdimensional.
It was like phased into this realm and then phased out again. It phased out in my fear. It came in my love and power, and it went out in my fear.
Have you done any research on the Romany, like what gods they worship or spirits, and if they have a bull spirit?
Well, actually, no. Do you know what? This is the first time recounting it because this is really a story that I've really kept to myself. But interestingly, I went to go see some family a couple of weekends ago, and they were like, "Oh, well, we know, there's certain things in one side of the family, but did you know that, like, on our Scottish side, that our great grandmother was a Jewish Romany witch?" I'm like, how do those things even go together? But that side of the family, that's the Jehovah's Witness side. So the ones that who were talking about this, we're kind of like the naughty little school children around like the table, like talking about things we probably shouldn't be talking about in a Jehovah's Witness family. And someone else walked in, so that kind of conversation got shut down. But now I've got this fucking floating bit of information in my head. Like, who was this woman? Who is this Romany Jewish witch? So yeah, maybe there's always been a link there, and I
mean, there obviously has. Look at what you just said. Look at the words that just came out your mouth. There's always been a link. You didn't just teeth that book because you were from like North and you're dirty. You teethed it because it was meant for you. All right.
That was my first like that was my very first like, no, something else exists. Like, I always felt it, but that was like my proof because I saw it. And at 14, I wasn't one of these 14-year-old weed smokers, like everyone else around me was. I didn't even start smoking weed until I was probably about 23 or something like that. I don't smoke at the moment,
Naughty girl. All right. Sorry, I just have to research it because okay, when you said that, I first thought about Mithras. So do you know Mithras?
Tell me.
Sorry, you seem so like what?
I've got a book on that I started to like read and I didn't get all of the way through it. It's one of those books that I've like, I'm gonna come back to you.
Okay, so bulls and cows like are very, very, very sacred. Obviously, in Hinduism, like the cow is sacred. They gestate for about 9 months as well, same like we do.
Yeah.
Um, in this country, there's a big, massive history of Mithras worship. So Mithras is a bull-headed god, and a lot of the in Rome, he was one of the like patron fucking gods of soldiers. Right. So
Oh,
we've got there's a Mithras temple that we need to go to because I've never been and I'm desperate. In London, babes, like I think in the
yeah.
city, which you can
Mhm.
actually go to, it's over 1,000 years old underground.
Wow.
And so what happened when the Romans came over, the multiple times they came over to like, destroy our
Fuck
land,
yeah.
fuck us up, make us Babylonians, they brought this god with them.
Okay.
And so there's lots of there then became this link between the paganism we had here and this bull god. Like they took over a lot of the sites that we would have done in the pagan worship and before,
Mhm.
and they were offering it to Mithras. So there's like this set of books that I read called the about Boudica. They're channeled books, so they're story books, they're fiction, they're like 4 novels. But the
Yeah.
woman who wrote them says that she channeled them, and then the story of
Okay.
Boudica and when these came, and she talks a lot about Mithras and the temples in the book. And then when I researched it, I was like, oh shit, it's fully true. They're everywhere in the UK.
Yeah.
So there is this connection with this god. Like there's also like in ancient Egypt, the bull was really sacred, again of fertility. Like
Yeah.
we have like our horn-headed gods, Pan, all of these gods that basically are
Isn't
seen as the
Hathor
devil.
actually shown as a god?
Hathor, who
You
is
know what?
essentially the all
Two, two,
mother,
2 seconds. You're
is
gonna
a
have to cut
cow.
here while I slide out. But
No, I won't cut. But yes, so Hathor is like mother of all, and she is a cow. There you go. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Jay, you need to give her some offerings, man.
I
You need to
do.
adorn her.
She's on my living room because I have a living room altar, which both my husband and I use, and it tends to be just it's devoted to various goddesses that just protect the space. And then I've got my like personal ancestor altar in my studio, and that one is where my ancestors go. But she's on my goddess altar, the one that protects
Beautiful.
and brings the protective energy into the house. But
Did
do you
you
know
get
what I
that from
was?
Egypt?
I did. It's alabaster.
Ah, ah, ah,
It's got
vibes.
a really nice sound to it when you
Gorgeous.
but yeah, I didn't feel I felt scared at the time, but it was more of a shock scare. It wasn't like, oh my God, I'm about to be mowed down by a bull.
Yeah.
He was just like strong, standing there like protection. The only way I can explain it. Like a bodyguard.
Fucking love it. Sorry, I'm still looking. Maybe I need to. Oh, and then there's so much. It's like the sacred bull is like everywhere. Sumeria, Marduk. Have you heard of Marduk?
I've heard of Murdoch,
The
yeah.
bull. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, all right. We got to do some research about this. Coming up, guys, episode all about bulls. Um, okay, so where were we?
Seeing things and having proof.
Seeing things and having proof. Shit, yeah. So this should lead me into my stories, really, shouldn't
It
it?
should really,
So
yeah.
we did obviously your episode about Grandmother Ayahuasca, and then we said next week, guys, listen to Nicky's Ayahuasca and Aliens. Now look, I have had an experience with ayahuasca that has involved aliens or multidimensional. I mean, every experience with ayahuasca involves multidimensional beings.
Multidimensional beings, just by default.
But these ones were more of what we're talking about now. So the alien, this interdimensional alien protector, essentially, which is, I think more the reality of what is there. It was my third. No, sorry, I'm trying to remember now because I'm like thinking this was fucking okay. 2011, I had my first experience, and these are all very different. I'm going to tell you three, and they are all very, 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 very different. And it's only really now that I'm comprehending them all as like a journey with each other, and actually maybe acknowledging them as something really important rather than just what the fuck this fucking weird fucking thing happens.
Is this on the back of this podcast we've been listening to?
No, it was before that, because when you sent me that podcast, had I not said, like, I'd literally said to you, Jay, I've been listening to so many fucking things this week, like all about UFOs. I was literally on this hunt for like paranormal information, but I didn't want paranormal and what is seen as like UFO ideology.
You wanted spiritual.
The spiritual ideology. I wanted this idea. I wanted to find that, and I was searching for it. So I've just had this. It's like this obsession that I have had before, but it's kind of come back up now with the aliens and with near-death experiences. And
because you're feeling gaslit.
I'm feeling so fucking gaslit, and I'm here, guys. I'm saying this. We are here to fucking ungaslight you, like seriously. So I was just like on this hunt, like looking. I just wanted to find people who had near-death experiences. I wanted to find people who had past life experiences. I wanted to find people who had interdimensional, multidimensional alien experiences. Like it just was like all of a sudden I was obsessed and I couldn't stop fucking looking. And I think this also didn't make my depression better. Let me just put it like that. It proper sent me off in a fucking spiral. And then so I spent like maybe 7 or 8 days listening to all of these random things, like literally wasting time. And then I'd said to you, and you went, "Oh, I'm listening to this." You didn't even put 2 and 2 together that I said, "Oh, I'm trying to find a new podcast about aliens and shit." You didn't even put 2 and 2 together, love. You just a day later was like, "Oh, I'm listening to this. You should listen to this like guy." And I just like I've listened to like I've spent a lot of time now researching that podcast, and it's more just because like actually honestly for the first time in my life I feel like there are people who have had the exact same experiences as me. I'm not crazy. Like that's literally what it is. It's like, and it's changing something inside of me, because I feel like, as human beings, we are pack animals and we're in this 3D reality and we need things reflected back at us. So if you have these strange experiences and you don't have one person that you can share that with and it can be reflected back and understood, then it's very easy to feel like you're mad. And I go through that. I go through that constantly, feeling like I'm a weirdo, like I'm mad, like I'm useless.
Well,
like
listen, no one wants to be sectioned because they've genuinely seen something, and then everyone's like, "Do you need your meds?" This isn't that. It's not that.
It isn't that. And I actually think I was sectioned in a past life. I have memories.
Wow.
Anyway, we'll talk about that. You see why I'm like there were just things now that I have to re-verify. Like I'm in a different place than I was in my 20s when I was kind of like just like, oh my God, I need to heal, everything's wrong with me. Now I'm like, no, I'm just a human being living an experience. Let me explore. It's different. Like So okay. First one. It was my 3rd ayahuasca ceremony. Right. It was massively traumatic. I had at the time I had so I have fibromyalgia, and it was really bad and nobody knew what it was. My mum has multiple sclerosis, and they, fibromyalgia symptoms can look quite similar. So at, the grand old age of 23, 24, I was being checked for MS and no one knew what was wrong with me, and I wasn't getting better. So I went to this ceremony. And the journey there was really hard because I couldn't sit up. Like I remember lying down in the back of this car and just being in pain. And also like sometimes something that happens to you when you're in like chronic pain and you have a chronic illness is people just do not understand it. Like there's not that sympathy, that kind of care that you would just kind of expect. And you shouldn't expect, but that you just kind of, because something real is happening, like I was disabled. It isn't there. So the whole kind of setup for this was difficult. And then the person, definitely not going to say the word shaman because they are not that. But the person who was leading the ceremony was, in my opinion, not a safe person, and had an issue with me in regards to the partner that I was with. So it was, and I didn't know. Like, it's one of these things I didn't know. I was just all coming in all innocent, like, oh, I've got these issues and I really want to be healed. Like, oh my God, there's community. There's people here who like I can be part of this love and support and understand like this amazing, crazy stuff that's happening to me, and I can be healed, and I'm in pain and I'm suffering and I need that. And I'm young. I'm a fucking young man. It's so young to do this stuff, if I'm honest. Like, and I was abandoned, like utterly abandoned. And this is like a whole thing which definitely links into my story on this earth, but it was really bad. And I was frazzled. So this is the ceremony I told you my hair went curly. So obviously I've got curly hair. I'm not with it, but I was heat damaged. Like, babes, my whole life I was straightening my hair.
Like your hair changed. Tell me.
Like, as in my hair was straight, like straight, because I've been straightening it since I was like born.
Yeah.
And I had gone to this ceremony, and then after the ceremony, I jumped into a river, and I came out and my hair was curly, and it never went back.
Right. So I guess to explain a little more, there's that sort of heat damage you get when you like straighten your hair.
When you're straightening your hair.
And when you get in the shower and you come out, it doesn't curl. It doesn't.
Curl. You might have a bend.
I had a phase where I relaxed and straightened and burned my hair to shit. When I'd go to the shower and come out, it would just be like these limp noodles.
It's just limp. Everyone know. We know. People know. Come on, we know.
Yeah.
Like, natural hair movement ain't going on that long. We know what it's like to have the heat damage.
Yeah.
So like, anyway, so I'll get to that bit. But anyway, so I'd gone to this ceremony. I'd spent a lot of time outside on my own, like having like massive asthma attack. And sorry, I don't know if I should be telling these stories, like, because dog's saying no. So I, at the end of it, I was frazzled. Like, my body, and these things take a lot out of you anyway, because you're staying up all night. So you're just going to stay up all night. You're going to fast, so it's a challenge physically, emotionally, spiritually, in a beautiful way. But it was hard work for me, really hard work. And I was fucking frazzled. And that's why I used to think my hair went curly because I was frazzled. But now I think my hair did that because it was about coming into myself. Like, what I'd been through was like coming into that place where I actually needed like my strength. And when my hair's curly, I feel like a different person. Like, I literally feel like so like more tapped in, shall I say. So I'd come out of this ceremony. So the first experience, it wasn't even in ceremony. I'd come out of this ceremony. I'd hung about in the area that I was in for a few days, and then I just had said to my partner at the time, like, I just can't go back to London. Like, I feel so broken by that. Like, I just couldn't go back to town and try and integrate. I needed to go somewhere else. And I remember I also still didn't know what was wrong with me, and I was not well. So we managed to find someone who lived on Dartmoor, and so we did this mad journey all the way down to Devon to stay in this person's house for a few days. And instead of giving us the house, so for anyone who doesn't know what Dartmoor is, it's like basically massive more piece of natural land that is the only place in the UK that we are in England, sorry, that we are allowed to wild camp. It's like basically the only piece of natural land left that we kind of have a bit of free reign over. It's incredibly magic. Like, the tribes that are from the Cornish and Devonish tribes, like, are literally some of the most magical in our country, and also some of the ones to survive the longest. So there's so much magic held in those spaces from when everything in this in the west of England was kind of changing and being Babylonianized. You still had like these Cornish people fucking fighting for their way of life, and that magic is properly there. So I feel so connected to the land there, and so at ease when I'm there. So it's beautiful to go to Dartmoor. But instead of staying in the house, I don't know why we didn't stay in the house. She had a teepee in the garden, and we were put in the teepee, right? And it was beautiful. I'm not going to lie. It's like dream garden in the middle of a fucking nature reserve, essentially, with like a stream going through the middle of it. Massive teepee. So we go to bed, sleeping. I wake up at like 3 a.m. and to crazy bright, like flooding like into the teepee. And there's this loud, like, I say loud, but I don't know if it was loud, buzzing sound, like just a sound. And now, if you know what a teepee looks like, they're essentially like a triangular tent. They've got a hole in the top because you normally put a fire in the middle of the teepee, so the smoke can go straight out of the top of the hole. And then they don't have bottoms, like you're basically, you're on the earth. You can put carpet down or whatever, but the teepee edges basically go to the floor, but there can be a gap where there's between the connection with the teepee and the floor. So this floodlight was flooding into the teepee through the underneath, through the little gap of the door, and through the fucking
chimney.
Now I'm sitting there like freaking out. I'm still in pain. I'm just sleeping on the floor in someone's garden, even though I've got fibromyalgia. Like, and I'm also now awake. I'm in this random fucking place. I don't think I've ever been to the countryside that's so deep before, because I'm from London. Like, and then there's light coming from everywhere, like, and noise, and it was fucking scary, like so scary. And so my partner at the time, I'm like shaking him, like, wake up, something's there. And he's like dead, fucking dead to the world. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's mind blowing for me. Like, I'm shaking him. I slapped him. Like, I had to do a good old whack. Like, nothing, no movement, no flicker of the eye, would not wake up.
No. Oh my God.
I am freaking out. I'm not sitting there going, baby, wake up. You know, like, wake up, someone's there. Like, I am freaking the fuck. I've never had an experience, anything like this. I've just, for the first, third time in about as many months, taken like a psychedelic that has blown my fucking mind away. So I am feeling a little bit like I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm very nervous. I'm very scared. I needed him to wake up to tell me that it was okay, or to go outside and see if there were aliens there. He didn't do it for me. So I basically sat there, gave up trying to wake him up, and just sat there to try and wait this out. And I had this overwhelming feeling like I wanted to go outside. And I did not do that. Okay. No, I didn't do that. I was terrified, Jay. I can't tell you how fucking scared I was. Like, I cannot tell you. Because let me just debunk a couple of things. So I was trying to figure out for ages what this light could have been. Because it's like, when we're in Dartmoor, right, there's like a handful of houses spotted about.
And no one's around for miles.
There's no one around for miles. There's no road.
And you will hear that car coming up the country road.
I'm like, I thought, I was sitting there in the tent like, okay, it's just a lorry. A lorry has just pulled up out. 10 lorries have just pulled up outside and left their but then you have to think about the reality, right? So this house was where the garden was. You couldn't have had a lorry shining a light on it from the road. Like, there was walls and houses, like, they're just impossible. Couldn't have happened. Also, we're in the middle of Dartmoor, where there's no lights, there's no really hardly anything is there. It's completely natural space. There just is no way that it could have been something like a farm vehicle, anything. It just, there wasn't the angles or space for it to be that. On top of that, if it was a vehicle or something like that was just shining its headlights on me, which I would try to convince myself of for years, then why was it coming through any gap? Why was it coming through the top? Why was it coming around all of the edge of the tent? It wasn't just coming from one side.
It was a directional light.
As in, I was surrounded by that light. It was coming in every gap that there was in this 360-degree tent. If there was a gap, there was light coming in through it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know what happened next. I woke up in the morning and nothing was there. He didn't remember a thing. And I got on my, and then I went and jumped in the river, came out, and I had curly hair. Boom, story done. Number 2.
Okay.
What do you think about that, first of all?
I want to know what happens in the version of the multiverse where you went outside and saw what happened.
I know, me too. I'm actually really upset. I was such a fucking pussy.
No, anyway. Do you know what? This ain't that. Like, you're not the first black girl in the movie to get killed off.
Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm like. I've seen these films. I'm not running towards the fucking killer. Are you mad, bro? That's why I wanted him to go and see. I was like, we can send you out first. Anyway, so by the way, he had no recollection at all. Like it was like almost like a non-thing, really, because I just don't think anybody could understand. I actually been through like for me, even saying it out loud, I'm like, I'm fully remember and can go right back there, but I still feel like a bit of a knob saying it out loud. So I'm like, you know, okay, so I just got on with my life. That was like 2011. Next one happened in, hang on. Okay, it was probably in like 2013.
Okay.
So this one was in ceremony. So I was doing a grandmother ayahuasca ceremony, and this ceremony was actually deep. And we could probably do a whole episode just about what I saw in that ceremony. But anyway, the beginning of it was very interesting because this medicine was like next level, full power. Like this medicine. So when you start working, if you work with the medicines at all, you will very quickly become an animist because you will very quickly realize these are alive. They are entities in themselves. And this medicine, like the spirit that she was carrying was like very, 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 very visual, very like, I don't know. I smelt her, just smelt it. And she wanted me to go traveling, boy. Like she wanted me to be in another dimension. It was one of the only, I've had a few where I've completely lost my body. And that doesn't really happen to me. I find with ayahuasca makes me super present. Like it's one of those things where I'll be sitting there and if my eyes are open, everything is more real than it has ever been ever. Like every detail is full. Like it's like I see the world really as it is. If my eyes are closed, then I'm traveling, but I can still feel my body. This one was like, forget the body, Nick. You don't need that. Like literally there was a moment I kind of like, I lay down and I put my blanket over my head and then my body melted away. But it was like, it was like a game. Like, the pixels in a game. And then my spirit was free. It was fucking mad. Anyway, before that happened, and this was crazy because again, like the visions that you tend to have will, usually will increase as you get deeper into the journey, or they'll become more vivid, like kind of when you're deep in. I'm talking like I've just taken the medicine and I'm journeying immediately, lying down. And again, I'm there to heal my fibromyalgia. I'm there to look at it. And maybe it was 2012. I think it's probably 2012 actually, because this is when I knew what it was, but there was no help for me. So I've been going to the doctor and they were like, yeah, looks like you've got fibromyalgia, but really that's just an umbrella term for a bunch of symptoms that we don't know what to do anything about. So, hey, 24-year-old, 25-year-old girl, you're going to have this the rest of your life. Just get used to being in bed. Maybe take some antidepressants. See you later. I wasn't up for that. So I'm there. And at that time, one of the main issues that I had was a bladder issue. So one of the main chronic pains that I was going through was my bladder. It made me feel like I had a urine infection. And if you've had a urine infection, they're very uncomfortable, like really, very painful, and the constant need to go toilet. I didn't have a urine infection, but
you just had the sensation of it. Yeah.
So it was like, I can't tell you months and months and months of not being able to leave the house, like mad things. Like it's when I got really good at peeing in random places, because I would be like, no one can say shit to me. If a policeman wants to come, I will tell him to his face, your government does not give us enough public toilets. I have issues.
It does
have
not.
Medical issues.
You know what? I was walking around yesterday thinking this because I've been outside all week doing murals and stuff. On my way home, it's like I need a loo. I've just been caning water all day and there's nowhere to pee. What is this? There used to be toilets when I was like 5 years old. I'm sure that was a thing.
Yeah, no, they did used to be toilets. They got rid of them all, and now they just have the urinals for the men because only men need to pee. Anyway,
continue.
Gorilla peeing. Episode number 73. So hang on, where was I? So I'm at, okay. So we're just starting, we're going into the ceremony, taking the medicine, and I lie down and immediately start to see these beings that I've never seen before. Like I've never seen these beings. And to me, they're aliens. Like I immediately am just like, these are aliens. Now they were like,
was this open eye or closed eye visuals?
I can't even fucking remember, babe.
Okay.
I don't even know. Probably closed. I'd say that I'd say I was lying down.
There is this sort of weird thing between psychedelics where it's like you could be open or closed, either way you're seeing it.
Either way you're seeing it, 100%. Yeah. It like kind of doesn't matter. I told you. She told me straight away, your body doesn't mean shit here, girl.
Right.
Don't worry about opening and closing those eyelids. They don't exist. But so I basically look up and I see above me multiple beings, and I feel a fear, but also inside, because there are all of a sudden these beings standing over me. But on the flip side, felt nothing but good vibes. Like literally, like they were there right now at the beginning, because that's what I needed, because my intention was to heal. My intention was healing for my bladder, not heal my fibromyalgia, healing for my bladder. Like that was my intention. I knew that I was not going to be able to do the ceremony if I didn't have some kind of physical support like that. Like, you know, so that was my prayer. And then I see them, and they're like these bluish white silhouettes. And it's almost like as I was looking at them, again, this moving in and out of dimension thing makes sense. But it was like, imagine like, you've seen these images before. There's a bright light and there's a being walking out of that bright light, right? So all you can kind of see, you can see their shape, but it kind of moves, and it's because the light is obscuring their shape, right? So that's kind of what it looked like. But I feel like they were emanating this light. They were blue and white. And they were really tall and, you know, thin, and they were operating on me. They had all these instruments, and they were like, we're here to operate on your bladder. And I was like, oh, okay. And I feel them doing it. I literally feel them doing it. And I feel the pain in my bladder start to release a bit. And then I freak out a bit, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't really understand what's happening. Like, I'm not ready. And they're like, it's okay. Talk amongst themselves, like, and I'm like, and they're like, okay, all right, this is enough for now. Boom, they go, and then I just move into the ceremony, and it's got nothing to do with those beings that were there at all. I'm just fully in a ceremony, doing the things I need to learn, having the messages I need to have, and it felt so separate, so different, like from the journey that continued after that with the medicine. Like it felt kind of almost more a different kind of real. Like I've been visited, whereas with ayahuasca a lot of time I feel like I go visiting.
You go visiting, instead of someone comes to you. I see what you mean.
And guess what, bladder didn't hurt. Bladder was fine after that.
What? No problems?
No problem. I might have, like, a little while later had like moments when there was problems, but they were because I wasn't looking after myself. Do you know what I mean? So like, if I'm not dehydrated, if I'm not drinking water, then I know what's going to happen. So it's that place of like, look after yourself. They're not just going to make me fucking.
But it wasn't
water.
just that chronic, unexplained.
It wasn't it wasn't the chronic pain. It was like, you know, my life started to come back. Yeah, because I spent pretty much all of 2011, a lot of 2012.
Do you know how many times you've worked with ayahuasca?
No, not
double
loads.
Digits?
Yeah, double digits, but probably not more than 20.
Wow.
Yeah, but I say that there's people who just can't count, so that's what I'm like, yeah, probably not. But like, you know, this stuff isn't something you need to go but round and round and round and round all the time. Like I said, it depends on who you are, what your lessons are, like what you're here to do, how much you can actually access a thing. If this thing is impossible to access, maybe you're not supposed to do it. Like, you know, right now there's not a space for me to do that. So I'm not doing it. You know, it's like, anyway, that was very interesting. And then that ceremony was one of the ceremonies I received the most messages from and the most useful information. And not just, you know, because it was almost like we got the healing out the way. And I feel this with like when you're getting into the spiritual work, and most of us who are doing this stuff, it's because we're in pain. It's because we're ill or we've had trauma. You know, we look at the world and it's fucked up and we want to make it better. Like, so
I've yet to see someone going for one of these ceremonies because life is perfect.
Exactly. But
they're enjoying their picket fence.
Exactly. So then therefore what this creates is this mass continuous healing culture where everyone thinks they're fucked up and they've just got to fix themselves forever. And I've been so trapped in this, like so trapped in it. Like where actually when you start going to these ceremonies and you start doing bigger work, like you start going, okay, like as in like your journey of your healing is going to take your entire life. Like you can't heal and then do the thing. You need to continuously heal, and things will keep happening, and you need to continuously get better at dealing with those things in order to do anything else. And what I think sometimes there's a massive place that's being missed because we're all very egotistical about the fact that we need to be healed. We're going in here to do our healing. Well, what about going in here to learn about the mysteries of the universe, man? There's like so much that you can do. So it was like that ceremony was like the healing was out of the way in the first. I mean, who fucking knows? I could have been lying down for 3 hours having an operation. I could have been there for 2 minutes, like but you know, it was like that was the shortest bit. Happened bam, like that, and then I went in. That's when my body disappeared, and that's when I started to have like one of the most insane journeys. So that was number 2. Number 3 was one of the most profound experiences that I've ever had in my life. And I've really spoken to probably 2 people about it. And there was no medicine involved at all. So this one is my favorite because first one I had, you know, just been starting to expand my mind with psychedelics, right?
Yeah.
Second one, I was literally on psychedelics. Now, I believe those realms are real, but for any listener out there who has any like questions and skepticism and doubts that you're just tripping or whatever, like, you know,
you're just hallucinating.
You're just hallucinating.
Hate the word hallucinating.
Yeah. It's up there with me with the word placebo. Anyway.
Placebo, moist, blob.
Blobs.
Placebo. Fucking hallucinating. Fuck. Go away.
You know what I mean? Go the fuck away. So the third one was actually in 2016.
Okay.
I'd say 2016, probably early 2016 or late 2015. The before times. Yeah, these are all the before times. That's why I'm saying to them, like, you need to come back now. Things have changed. I'm ready. But so this one was the most insane. Fucking hell. I've also had another experience like it that's kind of similar, but it wasn't aliens, but it may be aliens, so we can talk about that later as well. So I was living in Dulwich at the time, in a little flat in the middle of Dulwich, very nice. My partner was away, and I just got ready and like gone to bed. Simple, right? I'm just going to bed. I lay down. My eyes were open. Like I hadn't fallen asleep. I hadn't even done no hypnagogic shit. Like I hadn't even fallen into the in-between. Like I wasn't on my way to sleep. I just lay down in the bed. I look in front of me and all of a sudden my room has morphed. I can't move my body. And this is where I will get sleep paralysis and have experience with sleep paralysis, but this wasn't that. And this is what I'm saying. It's so fucking weird. Like, so I just was there basically and looked in front of me, and it's gonna be so mad to explain. I was in my bedroom, but also in a spaceship. So the only way to explain this is someone has said to me since that sounds like a tesseract. Now, I don't really know, right? But what it is imagine. So this idea of multi dimensions, aren't that they're all like this, bam, 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 but it's like they're like this, right? So I've opened my eyes and my body is still in my bedroom. My bedroom looks exactly the same. Like this isn't any dream world stuff where anything's weird or I've got 10 fingers or my wall's bent. It is my bedroom, solid as fuck. Like, and within that is a much bigger room that I can also see. And it was mad. It was like the only way I can describe this room. I knew it was a spaceship, whatever the fuck that means. I knew it was a ship. And I was essentially on a bed in this room. Now it wasn't a clinical like thing, like, you know, like we hear you go to a white room and they've got all their instruments and they're operating you. It wasn't like that. It was almost like, have you seen like the Thor films, the Marvel films?
Of course I have.
Okay.
Poked
Do you
it in
know
the
when
west.
they're in, do you know what I mean? You know when they're in Asgard
Yeah.
and so kind of like the great room in Asgard, and there's like these beautiful massive
Yeah.
windows with these like bays and like gorgeous
Yeah.
floor, and that's what it was like. It was like that. It was like this ship was like this epic fucking Asgardian like thing.
Oh,
And I was amazed by its beauty. And in this room were several beings that were tall, like 7 foot tall. So this is why that podcast has blown my fucking mind, Jay. Like, and I've
wow.
literally been like, it's mad. I've tried to talk to loads of people about it, they just won't listen. It's just literally like, when the conversation just gets stopped, can't happen.
Yeah.
So there were these tall beings. They were like 7, 8 foot tall. Um, and they were like really, really tall. They were like a whitish kind of color ish.
Yeah.
Not, but this is what I'm saying. It's not like their skin was white. It was
Yeah.
like they were white.
Glowy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had these long cloaks onto the floor.
Okay.
And they had like the weirdest fucking hair. It almost looked like, a cloak hood,
Yeah.
but it was like their hair. I felt like they had tried to look like something that would make sense to me. Like that was a message that I felt like I'd received. No, seriously, seriously. So
Yeah.
they kind of look
Like
like these
what
elven
does it,
gods.
what do humans think looks normal?
What do
This will
human
do.
things look normal? Yeah, exactly. And they were there and they were basically saying to me, no words were spoken, but we were communicating, and they were saying to me they were here to finish my healing. And I was scared. Like this fear came up like you wouldn't believe. And what it is occasionally I have these out of body experiences, right, which I have no control over. And
Mm.
the whole time I'm having those experiences, I'm fighting to get back to my body, and it's just like something happens where I'm just like scared, and I
Yeah.
fight to get back. And so I'll have these experiences where I'm literally, my body is like shaking on the bed. I'm journeyed somewhere, I'm trying to get back, I can't fucking get back. Like
Yeah.
so for me, I think it was more the random fucking nature of just all of a sudden, no reason, nothing, like just being somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then so they were trying to explain to me, they were like, no, we're here to finish the healing, da da da. And they were saying to me that they were explaining to me what it was that they were going to do, because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm scared, I need to know exactly what you're going to do to me.
Yeah.
um and they were trying to explain, and I couldn't understand, just could not comprehend what they were saying. And I
Yeah.
knew I needed it and I knew I wanted it, but I was so scared, I was freaking the fuck out, that they were like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to come back when you can do it. Because it was just that feeling of like, she's so scared, like we need
Yeah.
to do this when she's not so scared. Like, and it felt really sad in a way, but also like, okay, that's fine, we'll come back.
Mm.
And then suddenly this tesseract is gone, I can move. I'm crying, I'm fucking like, I don't know what's like happening to me. Like, who are these people? It was so real, like more
Mm.
real than anything that happened recently in my life, do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
and also gave me a feeling of like, there's something important actually that is happening and that needs to be done, that I need to get
Mm.
ready for. And I remember like speaking about this with a couple of people and having people, there's the responses like either, well, come on, Nick, you're a fucking nutter. Or, oh, that's so cool, man. Like aliens, this and it, but it's not the space that I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because actually, to me, they weren't aliens. That's when I was like, okay, fuck, this is an interdimensional thing where
Yeah.
I've traveled into their universe, I've traveled into mine, but we're in the same place. They are literally there offering me help. All I felt was pure love. Like, I felt pure love, and it was mad how the fear was there.
Yeah.
Like, and that stops you. And then again, on this podcast that we're listening to, they talk a lot about that being like what the issue is, and I so fully recognize that. But also how much as like a society, if you've been gaslit your entire life by your authority figure, then you're fucked. It is so scary to move outside of that box. It's so scary to try and accept anything is different, or have faith in yourself, have faith in your experiences. Like,
It really
and I
is.
just, yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just so amazed. Um, I'm so glad you got to experience that. So when they do come back, perhaps you'll have a different outlook on it. During my
100%.
ayahuasca journey, I was told repeatedly resistance is the enemy of love, and fear is a type of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's doing away with that resistance, which helps us to step into love and step into healing and step into the fullness of ourselves.
100%.
Um, but we live in these systems where they know this. You know, we may have departed from occult knowledge in the well, we never really had access to it in the mainstream. Um, at best, and at worst, you know, you get burned at the stake for being a witch.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been away from this occult knowledge, but they know they have this knowledge, and because they have this knowledge, they've been able to develop whole systems around, you know, keeping us in fear. There's a
Mm-hmm.
great documentary. It was a BBC documentary, but I think it's on YouTube now. It's called The Century of Self.
Okay.
I would recommend anyone watch that because it literally talks about how this society has gone out of its way to brainwash us all, you know, into a state of consumerism, and it is through fear. You know, you'll
Mm-hmm.
watch something on television, you'll watch something like really terrifying, and next moment they'll bring up this shiny thing that it's intentional. It's like, oh, they know, oh, you're scared, you're scared, you're scared. Buy this thing, you won't feel so scared. You're scared, you're scared, you're scared. Buy this other thing, you won't feel so scared. And what
Mm-hmm.
it does is it gives us almost this. I don't. I've probably said this before, and don't take this out of context, but I fucking hate democracy.
Mm-hmm.
Or better still, I hate this illusion of democracy. They give us systems that we like vote into with our wallet, or we physically vote into. Like, oh yeah, I'll be a part of society. I'll vote into this in the
Mm.
prescribed ways in which you give me with my wallet, you know, with my physical vote. And it keeps the system alive. And so many people believe it is necessary, but for we'll get swallowed up by like jaguars or bears or whatever your innate primal fear is. And it keeps us apart from these things. It keeps us apart from talking with beings of love, talking with beings of light. Um, in my ayahuasca journey, you know, speaking with the goddess of love and um, being surrounded by all of these like orb fairy things, it was really beautiful. But I very easily could have been very scared of that. But it's taken me a lot of time to train my mind to not be scared. When I first saw
Mm-hmm.
that cow god, cow spirit, I was terrified, terrified. So I literally feared myself away from love and it disappeared. But who knows what it would have told me if I'd just held that space for love instead of fear.
Well, this is a really interesting thing, actually. If you believe that the universe is within, right? So all of these things, all of these experiences are essentially within. Um, oh fuck. No, I'm not gonna do it. I had a great little thing and now I've forgotten it. End of.
What?
Ah,
Nikki!
I'm so sorry. I don't know why. I need to take some fish oil or something because my brain's not working, man.
Don't take fish oil. Actually, eat like cod livers. Eat the actual livers. The fish oil is just rank. It's another conspiracy.
Oh, for fuck. Are you telling me I have to? Oh my
I'm
God.
telling you. I'm telling you. It's
I don't
another
even eat
one.
the skin on the fish, Jay.
What? You know, you should eat skin on
I
fish.
don't. It's so. I don't like that. I don't like it.
What? It's crispy.
I don't like the slime. Like
Slime?
sometimes,
Who's been
sometimes
cooking you fish?
I crisp it up, but then the meat is a bit dry. People don't like it like
Okay.
that,
Okay.
apparently. Oh my God, what was I going to say? Anyway,
There's
whatever.
this idea of fear and love, and fear being a form of resistance, and resistance is the enemy of love.
Yeah, end of. There you go. Done.
So what are we we're gonna do some interdimensional being spotting tonight, aren't we?
Yes, so this takes us on to the next space. So obviously, I watched Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind last night.
Yeah,
You need to watch it.
yeah.
And what was I gonna? Oh yeah, here it is. No, it's not there. Other web browser. Okay. So there is this idea about okay, what the events are called when close encounters. So close encounter level 1 is what? Seeing a object, right?
Right.
So they're basically so this documentary is very interesting because he talks about this. He's basically I did not know this, love. This documentary, like what it was actually about. It's about this. I needed to see that last night in order to be able to talk about this today. But he says, and actually a few other people have been saying this, that it is our responsibility actually to reach out to these beings because we have the ability and it's part of our evolution to learn how to do that.
We've just been told not to. Should I read through the different types of close encounter levels?
Well, yeah, to do the close encounter levels and then.
Okay. So they're called CEs, close encounters. So close encounters of the first kind, CE1. It's sightings of a UFO at close proximity, generally within 500 feet. These encounters involve visual sightings of an unidentified craft or objects in the sky. CE2, this level includes sightings that not only involve visual contact, but also physical evidence. This can include things like physical traces left behind by the UFO, such as burned vegetation, indentations on the ground, or interference with electronic devices. CE3, it's sightings where witnesses claim to have seen the actual occupants or beings associated with the UFO. This level includes both visual contact with alien entities and possible communication or interaction with them. CE4, this refers to abduction cases where individuals claim to have been taken or abducted by extraterrestrial beings. These encounters generally involve experiences such as missing time, being experimented upon, or being taken aboard a UFO. Interesting. CE5, this level is more recent, and it's added by Stephen M. Greer, who is a ufologist, and it involves voluntary and conscious interaction between humans and extraterrestrial beings, such as through methods such as meditation, remote viewing, or telepathy. I want to add to that, or plant medicines.
Or plant medicines, exactly. So this is it. These medicines are entities. They're alive, and they are here to provide us with a doorway.
Do you know what I think they're like? When we talk a lot about mushrooms and fungi here. Fungi and mushrooms, that's just the fruiting body. Underneath the network, you have this whole web called the mycelial network. And it's like the Earth's interweb highway of information because it carries along nutrients, sends messages between trees and stuff. I feel like these plant medicines and these fungi medicines, they're just consciousness mycelial networks. And because they are consciousness based, they're not physical necessarily underground. They send out their tendrils through the unseen. So by working with these things in a respectful setting and safe way, you're essentially able to hook into this interwebs, this unseen interwebs, and you're able to get encounters with other beings.
Think about it like this. Have you seen Avatar? Number 1, not number 2. Number 2 shit. Number 1.
I saw both. Yeah.
Let's not talk about number 2. Same film made again. Anyway, plugging in, like when they plug their hair to the tree, right? It's the same. It's like, again, we spoke about this with Hollywood and the way that it shows things. Like it can show things in a way that really explains it very well, but also can confuse our minds when we don't have experience of that thing and make us think, oh, okay, so you literally have to like plug into a network that lives into the ground. What Jay just said is like, it's the mycelial network. So that is what you're plugging into. If you eat a fruit, aka a mushroom from the mycelial network, then you have gone,
yeah,
hi, I'm here. So that's what it is, and that's why we're animists. This is literally just what it means.
Can I just point out when they say it's extraterrestrial beings? I don't know how much I like that term.
I don't like that term but it does make sense because extraterrestrial just means not of this earth. Like, so these beings are not of this earth. They live in another dimension.
I guess so.
So
But
we are also extraterrestrial to theirs. It's just that
yeah,
ET sounds like ET. It sounds like there's some little grey
yeah.
alien flying down on a fucking bike, and we're all gonna either hug it or be scared of it. Like, it isn't. This is it's the same, but it's the same with using a word like spiritual. Like, I honestly fucking hate that word. Like, it does not sum up in the modern context of how it has culturally, how it
Yeah.
just sounds to hear those syllables together
Do you know
creates
the words
an
I
idea.
do like, but I don't like
Mm.
how it's been perceived? Supernatural, because it
Yes,
has
I
the
like
word natural in it.
yeah. Ironically, the supernatural is, I would almost call that the extra natural,
Extra
or like
natural, yeah.
the
I like
natural
that.
natural.
Yeah, the extra natural.
But this is it. It's like we are now moving into an age, love, where we don't have the vocabulary to
We don't.
describe the reality of the things because all of our vocabulary is based on lies. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
C5 event.
Yeah. So we're
So
planning to have a CE5 event tonight.
we are gonna we're doing it. We're doing the
Gonna
C5 event.
meditate in the fucking field.
Have you looked at the protocol? Because I have the protocol. I didn't realize.
Tell me the protocol.
The protocol is just like a yoga class, babe. It's great. Get into your love and light and then sit and look at the stars. No, but it's so if anybody is interested in this, I feel like this is the space of claiming power. Whether or not you believe, like understanding that there are techniques that governing bodies, CIA, the military, like doctors, researchers are doing in order to understand these experiences more, to have these experiences. Like for me, I feel like it's a massive taking of personal power if you
Yeah.
learn about it. And it may be a thing of like you don't believe, that's fine, but you could still try the thing, and if it doesn't
Yeah.
happen, then you have then your basis of stuff, your foundation. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like it's really important to recognize, and maybe I'm just saying this out loud for me, is that there are all of this spiritual hippie shit we do. There are literal, official, military fucking grades ways to do it as well. Like,
Oh
and
yeah, the
that stuff makes me
CIA
feel
have
better about it.
released documents on this. Relatively recent. I think it was during 2020. There was just a load of documents they just dumped and went, here, this is how you can contact different dimensions. But it
Isn't that
wasn't.
because that documentary was coming out?
I don't know.
Apparently they dropped these things just in time. Again, he said that on that podcast. Like they dropped these things
Okay.
just in time for the
Well, what's
actual
interesting,
stuff. Like,
there's like this mantra, I say mantra, there's this like affirmation or incantation. I say incantation, that makes it sound more like poetry than it actually is. It's just basically a statement you say to yourself
mm,
before you go to sleep. And when I say this statement, I've like altered it for myself. My my dreams are different.
okay, I need to know what that word is. So, do you want to tell me after?
Um, I don't know what I don't have it like to hand what their one is, but I say to myself like I am I am a spiritual being of light having a spiritual human experience. As I go to sleep tonight, I understand that my spirit can move through dimensions, take me to the dimension that will help me to understand X.
And has that been working?
Yeah, it has.
Can you lucid dream?
I used to be able to. I really used to be able to. These days, I think it's sort of a hit and miss. So where I was really good at lucid dreaming is I used to have really bad nightmares. Like I'd walk in my sleep, I'd run around in my sleep, I would scream in my sleep. I've just had very bad sleep issues that probably rooted in the fact that my day to day was quite traumatic and upsetting, and I had no outlet.
Yeah.
So when I'd be in really intense nightmares, I would be able to physically tell myself in those dreams, like, you are actually dreaming. Wake up. Come on, get up. Move through, go through there, you'll be able to wake up. Go through there, you'll be able to wake up. So I was able to have that level of control. But it was normally towards parts where I would be getting really terrified, and I would like be telling myself where to go to get out of danger, or where to go to just be like, this isn't going to harm you. You can wake up any moment now. And that's what I would do. That's where my lucid dreaming will come in. It's not something that I've actively practiced. It's something at a point I was like actively practicing, got really good at. Now it's I feel like I have some level of control,
Mm.
but I don't necessarily want to have a level of control in a dream. That makes sense. Like I'm there to experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, totally. Yeah. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to know. At the
Yeah.
moment, this is the, yeah, I don't know. I feel like the exploration of consciousness.
Let's do a dream episode. I mean, we
Yeah,
could
we'll do
talk
a dream
about that.
episode, but like seriously, is that maybe best explored through that. I
Hmm.
also believe that to really control your life, you need to be able to have control of your dream world. Like
You do,
that's
yeah.
a something that is passed through loads of cultures. So all of them who have, lucid dream
Yeah.
techniques that are really
Yeah.
important. It's I just For me it's that place. It's like you saying that it's like you go to this space where you are receiving these messages and understanding and learning and getting through things, like you're saying, for example, those nightmares or the trauma that you were sustaining in your life.
Yeah.
Like you were actually going through that and working through that in your nightmares and learning a way to
Yeah.
get through it in those dreams. And I
Right.
just
I
think,
haven't had those nightmares now for probably about 7 years.
so you did some proper healing in there, babe, that's for
Yeah.
sure. um Okay. All right. Sorry. CE5 event. Okay. So I downloaded the protocol.
Okay.
Oh, the tangents. You come here for the tangents. So Stephen Greer has made so basically, so he said, this blew my mind in the documentary, that when he got abducted, he had a conversation with them. JJ, it's okay, Baba. Yeah, he had a conversation with them that was along the lines of, so I want to contact you again, and this is how we're going to do it. So then he developed this protocol essentially with them. Or he said, "This is what I'm going to do. Will you come when I
Yeah.
do this?" And they've gone, "Yeah," and they do, and they
Right.
do it, and they've done it for like thousands of people in his groups across the world doing this protocol. Have just had repeated UFO experiences or repeated experience. I don't even like UFO. I'm just going to say being of light experiences, man.
Being of light.
Multidimensional being of light experiences. So the way
Yeah.
to do it, if you are interested, because we are going to be doing this tonight, aren't we, love?
Yes.
Is find a quiet location where you won't be disturbed,
Mhm.
indoors or outdoors.
Check.
Obviously, this stuff happened to me when I was in my house. Make sure you're comfortable. He says, prepare. So for 3 minutes, close your eyes, take a few cleansing breaths, and just let your mind begin to let go of your thoughts. So start to come into like a calm frame of
Mm.
mind by meditating for a little bit. And then he says, these are the things that I love. So he's like, cleansing for 2 minutes. Imagine yourself sitting as you are, but visualize as a silhouette. Ask the universe for forgiveness of your wrongdoings and to make you whole, pure, and clean again. Observe any dark energy leaving your body. And then you do a
Yeah.
protection for 3 minutes, originating from your heart. Visualize yourself filling with the most beautiful, loving
This
white
is very
light, brighter
shamanistic.
and brighter, very shamanistic. But this is even more. Listen to this. So you imagine this light coming from your heart, getting bigger and brighter, and now imagine a protective egg-shaped shield forming around your being, also filling with that loving white light. No, nothing negative can penetrate this. Now, in shamanism, North and South American, they have the luminous body, which is an
Yeah.
egg shaped. I think in Tibetan yoga, they have a luminous body, which is also egg shaped. This is the idea that we
Yeah.
really, if you were to look at our auras, that we would we'd look like cosmic glowing eggs,
Yeah.
basically. So filling that up, recognizing that your electromagnetic being is maybe look like that. If you could visualize it, it would look like an egg.
Yeah.
Fill it with bright light. You're protected. Nothing. This is the thing. All of this stuff is intentional, intention based. Like your intention
Yeah.
is fucking key. If you sit and you visualize and you believe that you are protected and nothing negative can enter your force field, then nothing negative can enter your force field. No matter what anyone tells you, that is your truth. That is the reality that you've created. Number 6. So then you spend like a couple of minutes focusing on positive vibes. So loved ones, pets, laughter, happy events, anything that brings you joy.
Yeah.
So you can bring up this feeling in yourself. And then he says to take a 10 to 20 minutes in deep meditation.
Okay.
After you do that is when it gets fun, right? Because then you continue to visualize yourself as a beautiful being of love with the light emanating out, and you imagine that this light is shooting like a laser beam straight up into the sky, right? So this is teaching you how to fool them, right? Yeah. Using your inner voice use your intention to speak. Yeah, so to speak your intention to the universe via your beam of light. So this beam of light, this is interesting because in shamanism we travel to the different worlds through what is known as the axis mundi, which I see it as a tree, but sometimes it's suggested to visualize that as like a beam of light. That basically is like an elevator of light where you can go up and down across like wherever you need to go into those journeys. Also light travels very fast. So when it comes to sharing a message via light, that would make sense. Anyway, just think about it. So via your beam of light, you just send out an intention. I wish to make peaceful, open, and loving contact with any extra dimensional being with the same intent. Right. And you keep repeating that. So just remain
with the same intent.
With the same intent. So only
so
good things.
So much of this is just like even similar to how you go about calling in energies in African spiritual traditions.
Of course. Because this is ancient technology. These are the ancient technologies, and we are now rediscovering them, or, when the fucking governments have been holding on to them forever, telling us hippies that we're fucking mad. Like, anyway, I'm not going to go into it. So after you've done that, after you've sent that you want that intention to connect with, beings in a positive intent, then they have, and he says, then you have to send your location. And this is the stuff that I love, right? This is when it gets super visual. So you visualize your location in the universe, right?
Yeah.
So you want to think about it like this, like you're in London, like zoomed in on your street, right? And then it zooms out and you see it going out, and then you see that you're in England, then you see that you're in Europe, maybe, we? Then you see that you're in the world, then you zoom out, then you see the planets, then you see the stars, then you see the galaxy, until you get to wherever these aliens are, basically. And then you zoom back, so you zoom out to them and you zoom back in so they know your location. And people literally like, then you just sit and wait, and it could take a minute or you could take an hour. But this is one of those things that once you get good at, this is just telepathy. So this is just speaking what they call the universal language, which all beings, if we live in a universe that is conscious, which we do, there is no doubt. Science has proven it over and over and over again. Like things are sentient, like the plants are sentient, like they're alive. They freaking scream when you cut them. It's like they can hear it, they know it. Like, it's just like, sorry, I'm getting so like about it, but I just, for me, this makes a lot of sense. And I feel like, I just know this will work. It may not work tonight, but it will work. And I'll tell you what though, love, I've been laying the groundwork, because every night I've been going out there chatting to them. I've been like, look guys, I'm ready. Just come back. I'm ready for the operation. Would like to have my nose done. Maybe a bit of a nip and tuck. Cosmetic plastic surgery. I'm ready for whatever operation it was that was going to sort me the F out. Come on, help. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm ready to also deliver this information to the world, because I'm fed up of feeling like a nutty person. And if this is the reality that I'm living, then it's real, right?
Yeah. Listen, babe, I think you just need to be around more people who don't make you feel nutty.
Oh, but I just hate being around people.
Oh, no, but there are people. There are good people. There are good humans.
There definitely are.
It's finding the ones who, when you tell them these stories, they don't go, oh my God, that sounds just like Independence Day. Get out. Leave.
Guys, you've got to find your friend who you say, I've been abducted by aliens. And they go, great. Should we come around your house and look for some aliens? That's when you know you've got good friends.
Let's invite them back. Let's bring them back.
So look, if you want to know where to find me, I'll be somewhere in the multiverse having the best time learning all the universal secrets.
Yeah, for real. If you don't find us after this, you will find us. Let's not play into this fear. These people, these spiritual beings of light, they are here as guardians to protect, to watch over. I think their intentions are pretty pure. From what I've heard from, little experiences, it's just I can't believe that it would be such a harmful thing. I think our governments have already done a good enough job of making everything harmful for us.
It's all control. Look, And look, if I really wanted to devil's advocate myself, I could be like, okay, well, I get the level of control. No, I can't. I don't get the level of control. I could try and make an excuse for them, like being an actor and all, and having to find the reasons, but it's bullshit. The reason is bullshit. Like, they just need to let us become our superhuman selves, man.
Do you know, I think it started like years and years ago, where someone's like, I don't want to do this thing. I think I can get someone else to do it for me. How can I get them to continuously do it for me? And then that's where it started. It's like this.
And then the Rockefeller Foundation figured out how to create the schooling systems.
That's another episode.
If you don't know about that, you need to know.
Yeah, of course. That's not even freaking. It's not conspiracy. It's not a theory. It's just conspiracy. It's not a theory. It's just conspiracy.
It's not. I mean, is it conspiracy because we're talking about it with multiple people? It's not a theory. It's fact. I just don't. What are we going to call?
Yeah, but to conspire is like, it's when these like officials get together and do essentially gang shit. When gangs get together and do gang shit, it's just gang shit. When like officials get to do it together, it's not gang shit. It's conspiracy. Theory is the part which says, oh, it might not be true. It's not theory. It's just conspiracy. It's just conspiring.
This is conspiracy fact, boy. Anyone who has any doubt, just go outside, meditate for 20 minutes, call the aliens, send your space,
or perhaps just find another podcast, one that doesn't address these things, so you can stay in your like little bubble. Maybe it's not your job in this lifetime to wake up, and that's okay. I'm not going to judge you on your boring journey. Come back in the next life, and maybe we can have another talk.
See, when you're spiritual and you cuss, it's next level. It's like your whole soul. Like, you are worthless.
This incarnation of you is boring. Go elsewhere. Come back when it's more exciting. And you know what? I think this is about the time where, we've spoken for a long time now, and I think we'll come back when we have something to talk about in terms of our CE5 experience, and how we've been taken up on some kind of glowing ship into like an interdimensional party.
It's gonna be banging, boy.
Hanging out with Rick and Morty.
I hope there's better options, if I'm honest, as much as I love them. Like, I don't want to. You do not want to be meeting Rick on one of these spacecrafts, like, because then definitely not, definitely not. Although he'd be fun to party with. Anyway, as good a time as any.
It's as good a time as any to wrap this up. Thank you for listening. Go on our Instagram. Share this thing with one other person, please. Please share. Please. We want to spread the message of goodness and anti-fear and love and shit like that. All those good feels. I've been Love.
And I'm Nicola. And we will catch you next week.
Catch you next week. Bye.
Thank you, beautiful being of the multiverse, for joining us on the Afro Animist Podcast.
If you want to get stuck into the conversation or have a question about anything we speak about here, join our mailing list and find us on our socials.
On TikTok and Instagram, find us at the Afro Animist Podcast.
On Twitter, you can find us at Afro Animist. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, you can also find this talk on YouTube. Just search for us and we will pop up as if by magic.
If you're loving what we're talking about here, share, like, and subscribe. And remember to leave us a thumbs up or 5-star rating on your favourite platform.